Well, welcome aboard, everyone. As you will understand, we were royally shafted earlier today when it was made clear that we are not able to go to an open meeting at the same time, and we will be dealing with that again in a few minutes. I would like to call the meeting to order. Welcome everybody here, and it's a really good turnout, actually, even though we can't bring them together. I understand we do have a quorum. We have at the moment 26 people present, and I believe that constitutes a quorum. And I would like to announce that we will be running it under the normal rules of order. And we would like to have from you now a motion to approve the agenda first. Is there any comment on that? Please signify by hitting the little hand. This is probably the easiest way to do it, so we don't have to watch everybody. But if you go to the react button at the bottom, you will see on the thing that comes up, it says raise hand. If you hit raise hand, your hand will be raised, and we can then assume that that is a vote in favor of the motion. At this point, you can take it down if you don't like the motion. You can put it up if you do. We're just asking that you raise your hand to have the agenda approved. I'm still waiting for hands. As soon as we get 50%, it would be fun. But in any event, if everybody find, okay. We are getting more. Still waiting for hands. You can see, you go into chat. Those of you who haven't, chat at the bottom, you touch it, and it then gives you a choice. Okay. Jean, are you counting them, or who is counting them?
Yes, I'm counting them when we have our 50%.
Okay, so we're over 50%. I suspect I therefore probably have to now ask you to take the React off again. Lower your hands, and now ask quickly how many people disapprove of the agenda. If you do, please raise your hand right now. I see a paucity of raised hands. So I'm going to declare that the motion to approve the agenda is accepted. Thank you. Second, have you had a chance? Has everybody had a chance to have a look at the minutes of the last meeting? I'm looking for any particular reactions, and if there are not questions or reactions, I will then call the question of, do we in fact approve the minutes? Wait a second for anybody. John, you've put your hand up. Would you like to make a comment? Okay.
I assume that his hand up means that he is moving that the minutes be accepted as presented. Seconder? Nigel?
Nigel, okay. Well, we have people, in that case, those people who approve, please raise your hand.
We've got our 50%.
Okay, therefore passed, and we can now move on to the next item, the Board of Directors reports. And I guess I get to go first.
Yes.
While I'm still awake, right?
Yes.
in any event. Okay, just one moment. I will try and find amongst the pile of paper. We have buried you in a lot this year. The organization has been very active, and I thank all of you for your activity on several committees and things to do. I will briefly go over some of the things we have tried to accomplish this year, and then suggest a couple of other things as well that we are sort of easing into uh, towards the end of my presentation. Where are we? We got the wrong one. Yes, there we go. Got the right, right one. It's been a really busy year because just remember last year we spent a lot of time working on a strategy, and this year we have started to move on it and actually implementing it. We were successful in clarifying our objectives, our vision and mission, and on coming up with a number of initiatives, both internally to organize this organization and also to take on some specific initiatives to help in the communication we have with you people and with others to try and make sure that we are following the issues that people find most important. We have now been in business for over 50 years, and this is our 51st year as we go into it now. It really, however, has been a challenge for Canada because its place in the planet is not what we always assumed in the past. The challenges that have been coming in from climate change, from our neighbor, from social justice issues, from migration, all of these are affecting how Canadians deal with Canada and the issues that come up. And we have been asked in some cases to contribute ideas and to join in the discussions. The real challenge for this organization is to try and stay relevant. It's not easy to stay that way for 50 years. We've waxed and waned once or twice in the past, but I'm very happy to report that we have been active in making things happen. We have definitely tried to become relevant along with other organizations. We are starting to work together with the climate organizations. So we have taken the effort to try and advance our ability to react quickly to specific things. We also have tried to firm up our linkages to other clubs of Rome and to the International Club of Rome, and to make sure that news and events from it are in fact brought to you with some frequency over our excellent websites and our blogs. So I think we should be very pleased with what these are doing. And I think there is a real capacity to move even further using these as a vehicle to put the ideas and the contributions of Cacor in front of Canadians and many other places. One of the biggest issues for us has been to try and figure out whether we actually have presence in large issues, even things as simple as do we continue to support the use of oil or transitions, or what is our stance with regard to immigration, or what is our stance with respect to the conflicts that are happening overseas, like Israel or the Russian invasions and so on, places that we actually have been asked directly and via the International Club to try and take a stance. We have up to this point largely resisted that, as has the International Club of Rome and the American one and the European ones. But it's getting increasingly difficult to understand how we might try to take a broker role or even a conference-oriented role to try and get dialogue rather than war happening. That is emerging very strongly over the last month or two. And that may be an opportunity next year for the board to try and come to grips with it, and maybe even get involved in conferences with other organizations, trying to come up with holistic solutions, and definitely not take sides if we can help it. Now, internally, we have definitely got new outreach capacity. We've now got some presentations that reach several thousand views when they come out after Cacor Live, and they're being shared very widely. And the reputation that we have been fortunate enough to generate is now something we can really be proud of. And I'm saying that we probably have managed to provide the right level of management to our trying to get this working, getting a lot of people involved, a lot of people helping us identify the most prominent and capable people who can make very good presentations for us. I think we need to continue doing that, and I'm going to ask the board to think about where we go next with this. We now have also put in place a capable new capacity to communicate internally through Wild Apricot to manage our organization, and we hope that'll pay off even better in future when people really start using it to its full capacity. And if you want more information about that, there are several members who worked on it for the whole year, essentially making it possible for us to begin to use it and to begin testing new opportunities. And I think if you want to ask questions later, we have the people who worked on it specifically, really, and Andrew and Ruben and Jean, and well, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, but trying to make it work for us. And we have largely debugged it now, and it is now, we think, a capable tool that will also cost us less as we go forward and provide us with more. I would also note some other things have been done over the year. There's been a lot of work done to reconstruct the history of the Canadian Association for the Club of Rome, because we felt we almost had a forgotten history. And Jean has done a lot of work, along with help from Dave and others, to bring together some of our historical documents and make them more available and more available online. And certainly we would encourage everybody who has stuff in your basement or where you're storing things that might help us reconstruct our impacts and history, please help. And again, contact any of the board, because we are quite happy to continue to accumulate materials that are relevant to our ability to say what we have done in the future as an organization. We also have, regrettably, or well, it's usually with regret, because we don't tend to add people to the Wall of Fame until they have unfortunately passed on. And we would like to say again, we've had Ian White is now there, Jack Smith is now on. We are gradually growing the Wall of Fame, again, trying to make sure that people are recognized for their contributions to the history of the organization. And I would note that it is available, it is accessible through our website, and we would encourage you to look and see just how much they did help us to make this a viable and capable organization. Well, final note on this is that we have been doing considerable work to try and deal with how well we communicate, to identify better ways to communicate with our members and to locate new members to try and broaden our outreach. We have also developed essentially a code of practice or code of ethics that helps specifically tell each other what we are interested in talking about and the kind of things to maybe not criticize each other about, at least unless very necessary. We wish to continue to be an organization that is intellectually stimulating, that is not limiting, that does not censor, but does not cause harm. And we therefore have a code of practice that we're going to make available to you, and there was some of it in the package. So that said, I'm going to thank you all for the opportunity to be involved in this for many years. I'm going to step down as president at this point, but still stay involved. And say that the main objective is for this organization is to continue to make a difference, to make sure that Canada is understood, recognized, and its key values are central to the kinds of discussions that we intend to keep having, with the hope that we can make a difference in our country and elsewhere. So I would thank you all very much for your efforts this year, the wonderful presentations we've had. And I would now turn it over to the next, whoever, again, the next.
Communications.
Which
It will
is
be the
communications.
communications
Thank
and
you.
Art Hunter.
Communications is becoming stronger and stronger now that we have the vehicles that let us do that. Thank you. Who's doing the
Art is supposed
Art.
to be doing the communications.
Yeah, I'm just getting ready here to do my
Okay.
screen share, and I'm coming right up.
Yep.
It's ready.
And I'm going to go off for the moment to help the bandwidth.
Okay, there we are. There's my screen share. We'll go full screen. All right. Now, this is for our AGM, of course. There's our vision and our mission statement, just to remind you all. And what I'm trying to do here to show our website engagement. Now, there's an awful lot of data that is available, and I wanted to just pick something and make a presentation so you get a sense. I don't know if you can read all the numbers that are there, but for the month of April, we had a total of 1,300 or almost 1,400 visitors. And of course our peak traffic was 2,300. The difference being some visitors come back more than once, and and so you can see the difference between the visitors and the views. But it's just an indication of how dynamic this sort of data is, and I just want to leave you with a feeling for what we're doing and how successful we are at doing that. We do have on the website 8 widgets, and each one of these, as you can see, has a different name, and we do get the opportunity to put a picture in to help explain it a little bit better. And to date, or at least when I made this presentation up, there was almost 4,000 postings that have been made, which, by the way, they're all searchable, and you can find them again if you really want to do that. It's in our database. Cacor Writers is a particularly interesting one. Is that this goes back for many years, and it's a number of archival things that David and Jean have been working on, and in fact, I do know that when this current version of the website was activated in 2015, because I was quite instrumental in putting that together along with the help of others within the organization. There was a grocery bag full of archival paper and CDs, etc. And that was turned over to Jean and Dave, and they put an awful lot of effort into getting that and uploading and transferred onto the website database. And and in fact, that work is almost done. And I know there's some details I still got to work out with David on naming conventions, etc. But the point is, it's fully searchable, and I encourage people when they go on the website to use the search function, and you should be able to find a lot of very interesting things. At this stage, I'd also like to mention that our website has, in essence, unlimited capability to expand the database. There is no limit to it right now, and and so we can continue to add material at our leisure as much as we want. Now, on the website, we also have the ability to do breaking news, and perhaps Susan Tanner, I'll just turn off your video. And and these are of course put in by our members, and I really encourage members to when things are particularly relevant and you want to share, do go on to breaking news. If you don't know how to do that, get a hold of me, and it's a 5-minute lecture when I show you how to do it, and then it's yours. But to date, we have 2,100 breaking news items published, and of course, I've just put up, in fact, 2 of them, and and these, by the way, are things which are picked by our membership. There's no screening. It's whatever you think is important, and that's what goes up. With our YouTube, of course, we get a lot of views. As you can see, it says your channel got 48,000 views in the last year. And we do have subscribers, people that follow us. And that was at 2260 when I made this. But that number, quite frankly, is going up every month by 3 or 4 or more, and which is a good sign. It's in essence saying that whatever other networks are working out there, people are coming back to sign up. And now Cacor Live, we've been going for 4 years now, and here's some interesting data. We've 171 sessions, live participants 5,500, and individual participants 1,000, and average per session, etc. You can see all that data, and it's just interesting to see people like John Legg, Ted Manning, John Hollins, etc. are regular ones, whereas Dave Doherty and I are the organizers. Now, Google Groups, we do have them available, and in fact, only 6 are really actively engaged. For example, some that aren't, like Cacor Adapt and Cacor Brand, these things have been active for a period of time, and rather than close them out after they have reached the end of their interest, we've just maintained them. Doesn't cost anything to keep them going. But for example, here's another one, Cacor Communications Committee. It hasn't been used in some time, but we certainly have 6 which are very active, and I think most of you know what those are. Now, here is a list of what they are, and with the events being that where every member should have their name on that list. And right now we have 128, which is more than what our membership is. And just got a phone call here. I'm just hanging up. And climate is quite active. As you can see, 15,000 threads going on it. We do have Cacor Public, which is open to the public. All the others are in fact behind a wall. We have speakers, which is very good. It's a complete list of all the speakers that have given a talk to us, and there are, if you notice, the same number of threads at 1388 compared to events. Now, the we do have another group called Special, where for one reason or another people have requested that they have access to some of the major events that we do get engaged in with our Google groups. And so I have put them into this group just called Special. There's 24 names in there, and they from time to time, do join in and participate as well, even though they are not Cacor members. Stay informed. Again, this is our weekly newsletter, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what goes into that in a second. But what it is, and every member, quite frankly, should be signed up to this, and you can see it on our website, and it's got a bit of a screen that looks like this. It just wants your first name and your email address, and you click sign up, and that goes into the database, and from there on in, you're going to get one email a week at 5 o'clock on Saturday, which is in fact a summary of everything that we've done, and I've even included a link there, but it has some main sections, introductions, our Cacor Live schedule, what we did last week in Cacor Live, what's coming up this week, what's been on our 8 widgets for the week, and breaking news items that are added. In this example, there happen to be 19 of them when I put this together. And under Stay Informed, followers soon pick up on it, and we have 533 followers, growing at about 2 a week, and you can see the listing that I grabbed and put up here, and you can see these are Cacor members primarily at the top, and the last 2 at the bottom are just a follower. I don't know where they are or where they live, and quite frankly, don't care. But we have 533 of followers like that. Oop. And that was correct. That is the end of my presentation, and back to you, Jean.
To Ted, but and Madeline has her hand up.
I just have a question. I just want to comment, Art. I think that the communications group have done an amazing job, and it really has helped to promote Cacor and really also set us in a new direction, which I find is just amazing because we're in a completely different world from where we started. And I just wanted to make a comment on your slide number 10. There is the Women's Issue and Perspective Committee that was not on your list, and there was also the values, Cacor value. And I think that they also add a lot to Cacor. So I just wanted to make that comment.
You're very good points. And that was my oversight because I am not the owner of and do not participate in WIP or values. I guess I missed those, but yes. And in fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll go back and correct those slides such that when they go into the minutes, they will include those two Google groups. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you can see, Art has been exceptionally busy. I just don't know how he manages it all, but he's been very helpful. Just remember when we only used to get to meet at all was once a month in this dingy basement downtown to talk, and COVID fixed that for us. So this has been the outcome of really reacting effectively with reality to the point now where we are much more global than we ever were, much more Canadian than we ever were, and we have a lot more ability. And as a result, we may actually be able to get some more members. And John's going to tell us something about that. John.
Hello.
John, are you there?
John Hollins,
Yeah.
you're up.
Thank you. The membership, there are two items on this agenda about membership. And the second one is by far the more important because it's going to explore ways of changing the membership. I'd just like to report that we've had a pretty normal 12 months. We accepted 10 new members on behalf of Cacor. Nobody was refused, no applications were declined. That hasn't happened in my time on the membership committee, and I don't expect it, and I would expect matters to carry on the same way. I just want to highlight one interesting thing that happened, and that was the decision of a member of Cacor to give Christmas presents to 3 of her friends, to memberships in Cacor for a year. That's a neat idea, which perhaps some other members might like to pick up on. Just one final point. Just a couple weeks, the membership committee for the years that I've been involved with it has been mainly a screening exercise, which almost wasn't needed because the caliber of the people applying has been uniformly very high, and many have contributed subsequent to joining over a long period of time. But there are never enough volunteers to do things, a subject which Art addresses quite recently. And you've seen what's actually happened under his leadership. But it still depends on the likes of Dave Doherty as his right-hand man, and a number of other people who make regular contributions to the weekly postings. To close, I'd like to report that a couple of weeks ago, we recruited a member from the north of Vancouver Island. So I think that means we have 2 members from that bit of Lotus land, which can only be good. And this one is probably going to beat out Andrew Welsh as the youngest member of Cacor so far. So back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, John. And thank you for riding herd on our membership, and much appreciated. Jean, you are on next about the program committee.
Yes, and the program, the reason we've got these various program or committee reports, these are all standing committees of the board. And the program committee used to be the group that did most of the organizing of the luncheons and talks and organizing people like that. And since the pandemic, the program committee has really not been very active at all. And I think it's important that everybody realize that most of that work has been shouldered by our Art Hunter and Dave, and getting things organized so that we have a continuing program that works well. In addition, we've been trying hard to incorporate things like the Values Committee as part of the work that is part of the programming. But I think it's going to be important for perhaps the program committee might be a group that will morph into one where we're trying to look at in-person meetings or how we actually schedule the meetings and work things out that way. I'm speculating here, I don't know, but in actual fact, the program committee has really not been very active over the course of the last few years. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for that. And the next committee report that was scheduled to be given was the one by the Values Committee, and the chairman there is Gabriela Greffens. And Gabriela is not feeling well today and is unable to join us today. So basically the report that she wrote was pretty accurate for the work that they'd done. And I would encourage everyone who is part of Cacor, if you would like to join any of these other committees, please contact the chairperson. And I think the chairperson for Values is Gabriela Greffens, and the chairpersons for the women's group that Adeline was talking about is Madeline and Fernand Faulkner. So if you're interested in joining any of these committees, please let them know. And with that, I think we can move on to Madeline for the women's committee. Does somebody have a hand up?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Art, yes.
I just want to add, Jean, that the actual live meetings that we used to have, I think were very valuable, because it wasn't just the speaker, it was the ability to talk face to face with your colleagues. And I would certainly like to encourage bringing back these at least once a month, which we did prior to the pandemic, and to have these live meetings again, and cut back on the number of drop one of the Cacor lives every month in favor of the face-to-face meeting.
Thank you very much, Art. That several of us have been thinking about this, and in fact, we have, of course, had a couple. One out in Canada. We do actually still try and have a picnic at least once a year, and definitely the main issues have been for talk to the members about this, finding a very good venue. We unfortunately lost the very good one we had last year that was down south of Lansdowne. But that said, the other thing I would note is that at least two of our committee groups are doing stuff that is totally commensurate with what the pubs are at the International Club of Rome. And we have tried to put them in touch with each other to increase communication on the values area and also on climate change. And there are a couple of others that could be open to members who wish to get involved. And next will be Madeline.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. Okay, well, you've had a chance to look at our report. And I just want to say that what's really important for us is linking to other women's network, and we've been doing that for over the past 4 years. One that's of very special interest, and we always send their information, and they are having a really a whole week of activities, third week of June. So we've been passing that on to the people who are part of our network. And this is the network of Women, Earth, and Climate Action Network, called We Can. And so we've been following them and passing on their information. We also have been connecting through International Women's Month and attending many of the activities that took place and following what's going on at the international level as well. We're still very much into the report to the Club of Rome on Earth for All, and we really are interested in pursuing empowering women, which was one of the 5 levers they said would really help us get out of this climate situation we're in. And so we're working on that. We also have continued to have connection with the International Club of Rome. And we're trying to think of some very concrete actions that will facilitate the dissemination, the spreading of what we're doing and connecting with others. So basically, that's what we've done all year. And for next year, we've also tried to get in touch with people from universities here in Ottawa, and they've made special presentations to us. And I've had a small discussion with Art about doing short videos, because when they come on, we don't really want to share all of the meeting we're doing on video, but we really would like to do the presentation of these people we invite to speak to us, and we would like that to be available on somewhere on the YouTube channel. So I think Art and I will have to work a little bit closer on that together and see what we could get done. And for next year, we're thinking of trying to get something going in the fall, either an event or we will ourselves publish a report. And we'll try and make it a little bit like Ted has been invited to come and talk to us, and he presented to us what they have done, the report they did on seabeds and that you did with Anitra. And I think something along those lines is another kind of report that's of interest to our group, and we would like to do something like that. So, and of course, we want to have an in-present event if we do the event. So we'll keep you informed, and we're looking at doing a meeting at the Ritz at the end of June. So that's our report. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Madeline. Richard, do you have a question? He has a hand up.
I do.
Please.
Just a quick question. Did I hear Madeline saying that you've already been investigating joining the Climate Action Network?
No, no, we're not. We haven't joined any network, but we follow the Women's Earth for All, the Earth and Climate Action Network. This is a completely international group. It originated in the States, but they represent mostly Indigenous women from all over the world, Richard. It's quite exciting. And it's not only women, there are men involved in it as well.
Oh, I'm asking because I have a call scheduled with the Climate Action Network on Wednesday morning to see if Cacor can join.
Oh, okay.
Excellent. Before we go there, Ruben had suggested that we may need a motion to change the nature of this meeting to exclusively electronic. Ruben, did you wish to make sure that motion gets on record?
Yes, I would move that we, the members at this meeting, agree with the decision in the circumstances to host an all Zoom meeting. End of motion.
Thank you very much. Do you have that written down?
I do not. I will put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Jean. Just make sure that's done. All those in favor, please use the hand raise so that we can get on record to protect ourselves against future nasty bureaucratic legal risk. It's coming. Okay, a few more. That
I might point out that the motion, it mentions the product Zoom. You may wish to just say a platform, a
electronic
digital platform.
meeting. Yeah,
electronic platform.
okay. Are there, okay, we aren't quite to 50% yet. I guess I could put my hand up too, I suppose. I'm not sure the chair gets to vote in this kind of thing. Got a couple more. Yeah, okay. It now appears to have exceeded 50%.
Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you very much. So that has now, that motion is therefore passed. We now move on to another list of motions where we do get the opportunity to debate and vote on the other motions that are coming forward. Jean, were you putting that up on the screen? Thank you.
The motion is, be it resolved that this annual general meeting adopt the reports from the chair, the communications committee, the membership committee, the program committee, the values committee, and the women's issues and perspectives committee. All in favor?
All in favor, please use the yellow hand or whatever color hand yours decides to put up.
Okay.
Okay. And I think indeed one or two more. Okay, we are now at 50%, therefore
Okay.
it is passed. Thank you very much. Very well. The next item
Is the ad hoc committee, operational committee report. This is for
that's
Ruben.
correct. Ruben, please.
Okay, I will share my screen. And the thing's disappeared. There it is. This is the rationale that is set out in the report that you have all received. I will not read it to you, but I want to highlight two parts of it. The first, and it's already been said, but it needs to be reinforced that in the last 5 years, Cacor has faced there are other organizations facing the same conditions who were not able to adapt and have died. And so COVID preempted our model of business as usual. And as we've already heard, because of the work of the communications group, which really means Art and Dave mostly, and the work of Jean in driving some operational matters, sorry, my apologies. What I'm saying is I want to just reinforce that Cacor has been successful where other organizations facing COVID have failed. And that's really important. But it has fundamentally changed our model and our ambitions so that we know that COVID preempted our business as usual model as if you like, the whole of Cacor. Although we're now raising the question as to whether more meetings in Ottawa would actually enliven Cacor, and I would encourage that. And the bits in green are the responses that were made by various people within Cacor, but primarily Jean and Dave and Art, who drove changes in our back office, who created the new webinar series, and who realized that we needed a style of membership that was fit for the second quarter of the 21st century. We were born, if you think about it, in the third quarter of the 20th century. So that's quite a leap. And we're now on the path to becoming an effective national future shaping community with an international reach. And this is saying that the ad hoc membership working group, which, by the way, included all members of the existing membership group. So it was an ad hoc board committee in which all members of the existing membership group were invited, and they all said yes. What we did essentially was rethink the membership and participation. So think of membership both as big M membership, which we're now characterizing as full membership, and small m membership, if what you mean by is participation. And Art has already shown us that we have participants who simply show up on the web, several thousand a month. We never know who they are. And so these are the people in orange who are free for all, using our expanding website, listening to the Cacor live series, whether in person or the videos later. And we've always had followers, although now we formalized the language of followers. We're all used to the fact that in a variety of websites that we participate in individually, one of the questions is, do you want to follow this person? And so that will now become more routine, that will recognize that with followers, as well as the next two sets, we have legal permission to communicate with them, and we know their name and email address. And so this is beginning to build a wider sense of the Cacor community, that our community is more than just full members. And the newest wrinkle is people we're calling associates. And again, we're all used to this, that I expect each of us in different ways, just given our interests, are participants on websites where in effect we pay to play. We don't have any legal responsibility for the website. It's just that a particular website has material that we want regular access to. And if we sign up, whether it's $10 a year or 100, we get to participate and we get access to their material. And so we're doing that now. And of course, if you think about it, that's become a perfectly normal business model in today's world. And we're now adopting it within Cacor. But associates don't have any legal responsibilities. So associates, won't be invited to AGMs because they won't be full members. So the language of full members is the language we're using for what we used to just call members. And these are people who not only have full access to participate, as demonstrated in this meeting, these are people who care enough about Cacor as a Canadian corporation, not for profit, incorporated under not-for-profit law. But that means that in today's world, we have certain responsibilities. For example, as a charity recognized by the CRA. So we need some people who will say, I'm not only willing to participate, but willing to accept the responsibilities of making sure that Cacor as a legal entity is alive and well and healthy. So that's the pattern that we now have. And I'd be happy to answer questions after we deal with this motion, or if there are questions once the motion is moved and seconded. So this is simply a motion that says, in order to make these changes, you can imagine that going through bylaws that had their origins back in the 1970s, there were just lots of technical changes that need to be made. And all this motion says is that we, the members today, agree to change our bylaws so that the changes I've just discussed become incorporated in the bylaws, and that the most significant one is the inclusion and definition of people we call associates, although we've also defined followers. And the associates shall be charged 50% of the membership fee for full members. And we've also defined that emeritus members will still be full members at no fee, whereas honorary members shall now be considered honorary associates at no fee. If there are questions, happy to deal with them. That motion is moved by me, and Ted, it will.
Seconder, please.
Art Hunter will second.
David, thank you. You've seconded it? Or David? Okay. Are there any questions for Ruben?
Why is the student member superfluous?
I didn't understand the question.
The student
Dice,
member
yeah.
is now superfluous. I wonder why.
Well, it's simply because I mean, there was a day, if you think when we were formed, that students with much intellectual interest tended to be in universities. That's no longer true, and so we no longer need to define. A student can become a follower if they wish. A student can just use the website. A student can become an associate. And in order to become an associate, there's no extra cost. There's no process. You just do it the same way you become an associate with any other organization. So it's simply superfluous now. There's no need for a student member. We have other processes for people who lack money, but they may be of any age. So there's no longer a focus that students may be poor and they need assistance. That's dealt with by Cacor and by other processes, and it's quite explicit. So somebody who's a student, it will actually be easier to say to students, how would you like to become an associate? You get to participate, you get to hang out with interesting people, you get to do it at half the cost. And some of those people over time may get hooked enough to become full members.
Does that answer your question, Bill?
The 50% may still be a bit steep for people in university.
Yeah, you missed the point, Bill, that we've got other arrangements for people who feel that they're financially strapped. And so we're no longer tying in a single package, as we did with student members, a level of fee with status. We've separated out the categories of membership from the question of who can afford to pay it.
Okay.
Okay, I have another question. Susan.
Thanks, Ted. Could you describe the emeritus and honorary positions? I don't know the difference.
Well, emeritus, as defined in our bylaws, and is common in institutions, means someone who has been a long-standing and exceptional member of the organization, in the same way you get emeritus professors at a university. An honorary person is a person who has made a significant contribution to Cacor, but they needn't be a member. So that contribution could be somebody, for example, if we held a national conference and somebody in Ottawa volunteered to help raise money with us and to help organize that, we might make them an honorary member, although they're not a member of Cacor. They're just committed to that conference and wanted it to succeed.
Yeah, that's very clear. Thank you. But the emeritus, how is that decided? Like, should Art be emeritus, or does that mean when he's not active, or what? I mean, because he does a huge amount of work, right?
You can, as an emeritus, you can be as active as you wish.
Ah.
So there's no, emeritus does not in any way imply a level of activity, nor does it imply that you're close to death.
Great.
Art, in fact,
If you're waiting to get on our wall, then I guess you become emeritus. John
Thank you.
Holland, do you have a question?
Okay. If I can find my thing here. Sorry.
John, do you have a question?
Thank you, Ruben, for capturing in just a few minutes 6 months of work. I was privileged to be party to this exercise. There could be consequences to this proposal, and there's one thing that's needed in addition. If I chose as a full member paying the full fee to switch to associate member, I would reduce my costs of participating in Cacor. How many current full members do you think might do that?
well, let's test it right now. Take your hand down, John. John, take your hand down.
Yes, okay. Just answer the question.
What I'm at, well, I'm getting there. Just be patient. I want anybody who is on this call who, because you will save 50% of the fee, plans to become an associate as opposed to a full member, to just put their hand up.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm not
Okay.
sure with 29 very interested members attending the AGM out of 100 plus that you're going to get a very meaningful survey on that one.
I didn't suggest it was.
No, I am just saying.
What you're getting is a survey of those who are here. And my sense is, John, that from one point of view, it actually serves us well to have people who are saying, in effect, I no longer want the added responsibility of the legal side of Cacor. And that's fair game. We haven't given them that choice in the past. If you became a member of Cacor, you may have been solely interested in the participation. And not so that, for example, we have 29 people here out of 100 and some members. I expect there will be members who become associates, and yes, but I also expect that we have an associate membership to sell to a whole variety of people. If we do that well, we should get far more new associates than we'll lose in members.
Thank you. The other side of this coin is our membership committee, for as long as I've been involved with it, has been simply a tool for screening applicants. What you're talking about deserves some promotion. How are you proposing to advocate, to campaign for new members?
It's a great question, so thank you. One of the things the board has done is accept the recommendation of the ad hoc membership working group that the membership committee be renamed as a membership and promotion committee, and that it be given a new mandate, which has been spelled out, that includes promotion, so that the active promotion of Cacor, which is already going on with the communications group, will be backed by this permanent working group of the board.
Thank you. And that's a decision that can be made by a meeting of the board. It doesn't require the decision of an annual general meeting. But I hope that this current meeting we're in right now would support that change. I've been, frankly, as membership secretary for just a few years, I have sometimes been frustrated that we did not have that in our existing mandate. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yes.
So do you think that we require a motion in principle then to support this, or are we leaving it to the board?
No, you don't. The bylaws of Cacor are quite explicit that the
Mhm.
board has the right to create and disband whatever standing committees or ad hoc committees it wishes.
Thank you. Art, you're next.
Yeah, I'd just like to comment that there is a bit of work when there is a new member, because we really have to get their name put on the events list so they are getting notifications. We should also automatically join them up to our Stay Informed weekly newsletter. And we should, in fact, need some automatic way to get them at least connected. Like new members don't even know might not even know what a Google group is, let alone what's the difference between the Google group Cacor climate versus Cacor discussion. And you get involved, and there's a lot of, very good exchanges that go on in these. And somehow we need to find a means to get these new members engaged. Otherwise, they're just a name on a list and not really engaged in any way.
Good point. And the mandate that was suggested by the ad hoc committee for the promotion and membership committee includes that, which means, Art, that they will be needing to talk with you and the communications group to get those wrinkles worked out. But the intent is very much to have an active group of people who are actively concerned about the size of Cacor and about the back office work that is needed to get people signed up in a way that both they and we are happy.
Thank you very much. Madeline has a question, and then we will get on to our finance committee because we have one last major report to consider. Madeline, you have a comment before we?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to get back to the membership committee. The membership committee, like the Women's Committee and the Values Committee, are standing committees. They have terms of reference. And I think given what Ruben has said, the terms of reference of the present membership committees should be viewed. And just to support Art in what he's saying, that these people have to be put on told about the different committees and the different things that are available to them as members. And Art doesn't want to have to start putting everybody on these lists. I think, again, this is one of the tasks that the membership committee can do, and that's to welcome the members and then supply them with a way of getting in on all the committees and telling them about Cacor and what they can do. That's it.
And just so you're comfortable, Madeline, the new terms of reference for the standing committee that is being what's happening is, in effect, the membership committee is getting new terms of reference and a new name.
Great. That's wonderful.
So the kinds of concerns you've expressed are covered in that, and there's an expectation that will be dealt with.
Great. And I also hope that all of this will be added to our governance manual, because that's another thing that we'll have to look at in the new year to make sure that the governance manual is up to date and on the website so people can consult.
Thank you, Madeline. I have David Head on next, and Richard, you have an announcement. Is it brief? Do you want to do it now first, or do you want to wait till David does his full presentation?
No, sure. I can present right now.
Okay.
I just want, is now a good time? Yep.
Yeah.
So I just want to let you know that as part of the committee that I've been working on. I'm on the board, the steering committee for for developing a institute, a CHR funded institute for planetary health, right? So
Yeah.
then what has happened is now Carney has established a cabinet committee on quality of life and well-being. It's a huge deal because it should drive it should drive our whole group together. Like in other words, the work that I'm working with is they're all fellow people in universities across Canada. They're all, and we've been working on this for some years. And the people on the board that were named by Carney, it's the mandate is to consider ways to improve community safety, health, advance reconciliation, and augment the overall quality of life and well-being of Canadians. And in that committee are Guibo, Dapperson, McKnight, Marjorie McNeil, Olszewski. I can send you the name of there's Patty Hadju, the previous Minister of Health, Valdez, Fraser, McDonald, Thompson. So it's a fairly large group, but that's been their mandate. And at the same time, we're working with CIHR. We're hoping that as our work goes forward, that we will get funding, like a separate CIHR funded institute that can help do something towards planetary health and in the connection between the environment and the effects on health. And actually that will augment the work of Cacor as well. So I just wanted to let you see that.
Thank you very much. It's always nice to receive good news, and we're a bit overdue in some respects. Thank you very much. Okay, we will definitely be pursuing that over the next year if there are opportunities. David, you're on.
Thank you. I think I can try sharing my screen.
Try again.
Oh, it didn't come up. Okay, I'll try again. Share. Can we see that one?
Yeah.
Yes, it's here. Thank you.
Okay. This are the balance sheet and income statements for revenues and expenses for last year. I would draw your attention to the fact that over the year, on a cash flow basis, we didn't particularly change very much, a few dollars. I would suggest, though, that this is somewhat misleading. If you look in the section down here where it says deferred revenue memberships, what does that mean? Well, those are there because we now have multi-year memberships, and some of that money is reserved for ongoing years. You can't, if you spend it now, you don't have it next year. So you in accounting terms, you put it into next year. If you take a look at it from that basis, we had something like a $4,400 loss in the year. Not terrible, but we're not going to go bankrupt. A bit more concern is we didn't do some of the things that were on the general budget for that year, including updating the website. If we had done those things, that loss would have been more like $8,500, which is half of our assets. I am delighted to hear the innovations of the membership committee, ad hoc membership committee, because that has some specific possibility that we will be able to get more money to fund our operations. As it is now, we are not going to go bankrupt, but we have to be very careful on how we go forward. I'd like to thank the members of the review committee, the financial review committee, who looked at the accounts. And do I have can you see the report they have there?
No, David, we don't see that.
Okay, I'm not doing that very well. Oh, well, it was in your it was in your package. that's Bill Pugsley, Art Hunter, Isaac Godin, and Tim Eaton, who looked at the accounts that I had and agreed that they reasonably represented what Cacor has in its assets and liabilities. Are there any questions?
Who got the $15 luncheon?
Yeah, there you
It's a
go.
good deal anyway.
I would ask that we look at the financial report. If somebody has questions about the financial report, and then we have to have a motion for that, and then we can deal with the looking at the financial committee for the review committee report, and we can move from there.
Yes.
Okay, so are we ready to go for the motion?
No, we have two people whose hands are up, Madeline and
Yes.
John Hollins.
Thank
And
you,
Susan
Madeline,
Tanner has
first,
just put her
and
hand up.
John, then I think Susan just raised her hand, or did it go down? Yeah. So Madeline, you first.
Okay. Okay. My question is about the communications and the member website support and the public website support and the contract for short videos. Don't they all go together? I mean, should that not all be under communications? To me, it's all communications, and sometimes so we don't know the difference. We don't have any idea. But if it was the general area of communications, what is the first communication amount for? It's just that for other associations, I see sometimes this broken down. It just makes it a little clearer as to where it's going, and it also is. It also serves when the board is looking at a budget and looking at where we're putting most of our money. It just helps to clarify. And I know that there are other people like me who are part of this AGM as participants, and they might have the same questions. So it's just a question of clarification for you, David.
Okay, communications potentially means things like the licenses for the Zoom that we're on.
Okay.
The infrastructure, if you will. The member website support and the public website support are fairly obvious. Cacor Live and our website. The contract for short videos is a contract we have with a gentleman in Spain, Samrat, who's a member, who does 3, 4, 5, 6 minute videos that we put up on YouTube.
Okay.
And yes, the trouble when you go into very short headings here is it may not be terribly obvious what each one means. And we've had some discussion at the board, but there's no easy way to elucidate exactly what they mean in a small table like this.
Okay.
So perhaps in the future, I should put notes to the report.
Okay, thank you.
If I
And-
could
and
just
the
step
other-
in, if I could just step in, Madeline, the membership website pardon me, public website support. We have an IT consultant that keeps all the questions and upgrades and things that are happening, and he gets paid hourly as well for his efforts in keeping us online.
Okay, and when it comes to membership payment services fees, David, is this Wild Apricot?
It is Wild Apricot or Canada Helps.
Okay, all right, thank you.
John, you're next.
Shall I go?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Thank you. David, I don't have a question, but I want to pick up on one of the lines. Donations, $1,230. Those, I think, were all solicited donations. And the point I'd like to put a point to the chair. What plans do you, Mr. Chairman, or the board have for soliciting a fundraising campaign? We've done that once in my memory. We raised a little over $2,000 towards the Pathways project, but that's almost a decade ago. We've got the potential, I would suggest here, and not forgetting the donation of some memberships by one of our members. There's an enormous potential here for raising funds beyond the membership fees, including inviting members to consider Cacor in their bequests. I'm also a member of the group of 78, which received such a donation, such a bequest. So, Mr. Chairman, it's really a question to you.
The fact is that those concerns have been raised. And I guess probably the stuff that Ruben and Fernand were busy looking at covers some of it. We have not expressly sought developing bequest forms for people and soliciting them. We have in the past and likely in the future be looking at trying to raise money for very specific projects, good causes, solving real problems where there is a need. We've talked about those, but do we yet have a major initiative doing that? I don't think so. Maybe Ruben or Fernand can inform us. Ruben, you got a hand up anyway. Why don't you try?
No, there are no such plans at the moment. It's a good point for those who will be elected to the board going forward.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions on this subject?
Well, I have a question for David.
Yes.
And is it the case that the figures under expenditures are the actual figures that of funds expended in the last year?
Yes, that's for the total year.
Okay.
Thank you. Any
And-
other questions or comments?
I have a follow-up.
Yes.
It's common in many organizations to have two other columns attached to a report to members. One is the actual figures, which is what we have here apparently, and then another column of budgeted figures, and then a further column of the difference between what was budgeted and what was actual, just to get a sense of that. And so I just raise it as possibly something, David, you could consider for next year.
Good point. I would be glad to do that. I do have that available. If anybody wishes to actually see that, please send me an email and I can send it on to you.
Very good. In that case, David, would you like to put forward a proposal to accept the budget, please?
I would like to move the adoption of the financial report for 2024.
Thank you. All those in favor, I would ask you to please signify.
Second. You need a seconder.
I do. Yes, I do need a seconder. I think we might have needed one previously too.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Jean. That's fine.
All in favor.
In that event, I need a few more raised hands and then we will be okay. As it is, now we are at a positive one. Do we want to make it unanimous?
No, that's good.
That's good.
That will be good enough. Okay. So There you go. Okay, well, declare that carried.
David, if I can get you
Yes.
to stop sharing screen. I have the motion for the Financial Review Committee ready to go.
Mhm.
I hope I did that. Did I not? Am I stopped?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
I
have.
stopped
Okay,
you.
good.
I stopped you. That's good.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. The Financial Review Committee. Again, we will need to, do we have to have a seconder from this? A mover and a seconder on this one?
Okay.
I will move. Art Hunter will move.
Thank you, Art. Seconded by.
I'll second.
second it.
Thank you very much. Madeline came first, I think. Very well. So all those would please raise your hand, signify, please.
Ted, to make this
Okay.
is a very important motion, so please ask if there are any dissenting voices.
Yes. Just one moment. Yeah. I still have a few people there who have not raised their hand. But in that case, we already have about 75 to 75%, I'd guess. Do we need to get all those opposed? In that case, please put your hand down now, and we will then ask for only those opposed. Okay.
Can I ask
still
a
have
point of
two.
clarification, please, on this? There were
Yeah.
two motions that came forward at the same time. The first was about accepting the committee's report, and the second is about foregoing an auditor. And as John Hollins points out, the foregoing the auditor requires a unanimous decision by the membership.
That
So
is
can we
correct.
just have some clarification, please, on what
Well,
we were voting on
it's
then?
actually a question. I believe it is. Yeah. Anyway, let's not make it complex. Is there anyone opposed to the audit? If so, please signify with a hand. Otherwise, we will come to the conclusion that it was unanimous. Because if it is not unanimous, we need to spend several $1,000s to have an official auditor come in and extract our money from us in order to prove it. Okay, I can see no negative responses. Therefore, I will declare it unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay,
There,
it is
I-
now
I-
carried. Bill's hand is up. Did you have something to say, Bill?
Oh, me? I don't think my hand is up.
Oh, well, it was waving anyway.
Oh, good.
Okay. Now I have no hands up. Well, Jean now has her hand up.
Yeah, I can say, I'd like to go back a little bit to what Ruben was talking about with the ad hoc committee.
Yeah.
There have been some questions that have come up on the chat that have made it important that people understand that putting in a new membership category, does it need to be voted on at this AGM by the members who are here? Ruben, could you please answer that question?
Well, yes, in a matter of fact, by passing the bylaws, the membership here agreed to create. It's not a new class of legal members, but it's a new class of participants in Cacor. It also formalizes two other classes, so that when the bylaws are changed, that that's all that's needed. By
Mhm.
passing the bylaw that says we're now going to have associates, the group here has said we're now going to have associates.
Yeah.
That's the way that is done in this matter.
Now, what normally happens is there are certain things that are delegated to the board. They don't have to come back every day for everything. And Ruben's just clarifying the board has that, and they can make minor amendments to it in future if they need to make it work better. And in fact, we rather hope they will use that authority if necessary. Raymond, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so I'm one of the ones who raise it with Gene offline. Normally, changes to bylaws need to be approved by the membership, not just the board. So I would suggest maybe we should just have a motion here to make sure we've covered our butts on that. I don't think there's any objection from anybody on the changes that are proposed. So I would propose that we actually, Ruben, you have in the package we got, you had a specific proposal in there, and I think we should just propose that and vote on that just to be sure, because normally, like I said, bylaws require more than just board approval.
By the way, there are some cases, I belong to another board, and they actually pass a blanket thing, essentially saying everything is legal by definition because they did it, and then get that passed. I'm not sure it makes all that much difference. Ruben, you putting that up? Yeah.
Was this motion not voted on?
Yes.
Yes.
It was voted on.
No,
Yeah.
it was not.
Not here, not at this
Not
meeting. It was
here.
voted.
Not here. Oh,
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Then
Okay, so-
I mean, this is a motion moved by me then and needs a seconder.
Mhm.
I quite agree. This motion needs to be approved at this meeting.
okay, so I'll second it.
Hunter will second.
Very well. I already have one from Raymond. I have a seconder. So all those in favor, again, please just signify using your hand, and this will therefore put it to rest. This is I also missed it just like everybody else did. Thank you for finding it. Okay,
Okay.
there we are. We are well into positive territory, so thank you. In that case, I will declare it passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raymond.
Very good. Okay. Now, before we jump, is there any remaining business? I would do that before we have the vote or identify our new directors. Just ask, I'll try and change the agenda a little bit because it strikes me that if there are any other business coming out of our discussions, we could probably handle it now and then go over to choosing the new directors. Everybody agree with that? Anybody objecting? David, do you have a comment? Okay. There we go. In that event, is there any remaining business, other business to be added at this point? Any questions? For example, I realized that at one point people were going to ask questions about where is wild apricot now, because and I would actually ask that myself. I think it would be very useful for people to understand where that is located. There we go.
Andrew Welsh, are
Andrew.
you there and could answer those questions, or
Where are
will
you
Ruben?
hiding? I can't find you on my screen. Oh, there you are. Okay. Andrew, please, got a minute to
The
tell us
question,
a little
where
bit
is
about
wild
status?
apricot? Oh, status.
Yeah.
Okay. The status of wild apricot. It's up and running. It is tracking all of the memberships and has all of the committees and groups and so on all defined. It has not been used recently for communications, simply because people don't use it for communications. And that's their choice, I guess. What do you have any specific questions on where things are?
No, we just wanted a status upgrade saying, hey, we won. It is working now, I guess.
Oh, well, it's certainly operational. Sorry, I hadn't prepared anything.
I'd like to know
Catherine,
why there's no link on our public website to lead members to the new Wild Apricot site. I looked for that extensively a while ago. I cannot, unless I'm not seeing it, I cannot find on our public website how you get over to the Wild Apricot site. I was able to Google it and get back there myself, but I just there's a
Yeah.
concern I have for our members.
We did make a request to have that added to the public site, and at one point it was added. Recently, I went back to the public website and was looking for it, not having remembered where it was, and I couldn't find it either. So it's not very prominent if it is still there. I don't have any say on the public website, so I can't really comment more than that.
So
I certainly
how we make that happen.
I can certainly make that happen, and I believe it's I put it on the membership tab, and as far as I'm concerned, it's still there. I'm going to go take a look right now and see if I can.
It's
find it.
there.
Yeah, I would have thought it would be still there. I don't see any
Under
reason why it would have
membership,
left.
still there.
We can do a little publicity at some point in future, just in case we find people are fairly difficult to steer.
Where is it on the membership page? Because when I click on membership, it says apply for membership. Oh, there it is. A little tiny line here saying link to membership link Wild Apricot under apply for membership.
Yep.
That's not. Yeah, well,
I think it should be more prominent. It's just my point.
Well, Catherine, you're not applying for membership, so you
No,
wouldn't
that's
look
true.
there.
Guys, we've actually defined clearly a problem, therefore it is fixable.
There you go.
In the past, we didn't even know we had one.
There
So
you go.
thank you very much. See, that's why I wanted to ask this one, because I've had a couple of queries about how do I use it, and that will probably work just fine. So thank you very much there. I know that as well, Fernand gave us a lot of stuff recently on the work she's been doing on did you want to say something now while we still have a few minutes? Fernand?
Just a minute.
There you are. Yes.
Okay.
I don't
No,
think we made a place for you, and
Right,
when we last talked, I think you wanted a minute or two to explain what you're doing and how.
no, I thought at the last minute it was decided that I wasn't on the agenda and I didn't see
Well, now
myself.
we've
So
decided
I
we'd like
didn't,
to hear from you.
and I didn't prepare anything. So, so yes, it's all going to be on all the work that was done on advocacy over a period of 6 months, all the different stages and papers, and also the work that is background for the code of conduct should also be up on Wild Apricot. But that at the last meeting, it was decided to just put the code of conduct and not necessarily all the background work, but I think it should all be on. Because there was a lot of
these are significant changes coming forward, and definitely I'd say at this point we just hand it to the next board and let them take it through in the next few months.
Right.
We put a lot of work into it and we don't want to have it lapse. That's about it. So thank you again, Andrew and Fernand, and making these differences, because it should make life a bit easier for everybody. I have a question from John. I think John Hollins, you have your hand up again.
Oh, thanks. Since Andrew was there, and Andrew, can I ask you a question about wild apricot? I find it extremely difficult to use. I tried to go in this morning and I couldn't get past the capture barrier. I went round and around and around. Does Cacor really need that capture system with the out of focus pictures that you have to click on boxes? I think Cacor's the only place that I now connect with which uses capture. Do we really need it?
No, we don't. Whether we can turn it off is a separate question, but I don't think we need it. I'll have a look, see if we can turn it off.
Thank you. Okay, see, we're in a problem-solving mode right now. So I would like now to call the formal part of the meeting. Oh, Raymond has another last question. You can have the
No.
last question, Raymond, and then we go.
Sorry, Ted. There's a nominating committee report or something that Jean put together, and
Yeah,
I think we
that's
need to
what we're about
record.
to do. I'm just going to go over to there.
Okay, perfect, because that
just
needs to be
making
recorded.
sure we
I
didn't
think
have
in
other
advance.
outstanding questions.
Yeah.
Okay, over to Jean to run the nominating committee.
Thank you. This is the last report. The
Mhm.
nominating committee is there to try and attract people to come to the board. And this year, what I did was, as I'm past chair of Cacor, and it's my job to try and recruit members to come to the board. And what I did was, this particular year, I spoke to a few people individually, as well as sent out a cattle call, as it were, to all people on Cacor, in Cacor members, to see if anybody was interested in coming on board. The individuals that I spoke to, nobody was willing to come onto the board, but the cattle call resulted in 2 people who are willing to come back onto the board. And I would like to thank Madeline Aubrey and Art Hunter for willing to come back onto the board of directors of Cacor to help lead us through this final push to try and bring through all the changes that are needed and make sure that it's legal and that it really takes hold for the way in which this organization runs. As past chair, my job as chairman was to try and get us through COVID and a few other things that were going on. It has been a mammoth task, and I think we are well on our way to getting through all of the problems that we were facing as an organization. So I would really like to say thank you very much for all of the members of the board of directors who are willing to stay for the next few years. I would like to say that I will be stepping back from the board of directors. Gabriela Greffens will be stepping back. Nigel Weir will be stepping back, and so will Ruben Nelson. So all of those people, I would like to say thank you so much, and especially for people like Ruben and Gabrielle, who've been mainstays for work that's been done, and Ruben, for all the work that you did on the ad hoc committee. It was marvelous, and thank you for that. So these people are leaving, but we have a large board that is still in existence. So Ted will be stepping back as chairman, and he will be taking on the position as past chair. We have Raymond Lurie, Richard Vanderyak, Andrew Welsh, Fernand Faulkner, David Head is our treasurer. And I'm looking down the list and trying to think, who have I missed? I think I've missed somebody. Anyway, these are the directors who are willing to stay on the board of directors to help guide us through the next few years. So I would like to say thank you for that. And Art and Madeline, I sent out the information in the package about you as individuals. Both Art and Madeline have been previous board members, Madeline as chairman and Art as a very strong member on the board to try and guide things through. So with that, I would like to say welcome. And these are the people that I was able to recruit or were willing to recruit themselves. Thank you. Before we vote on any new on the new board for the coming year, I would like to say, are there any individuals who are willing to step forward or like to be stepping forward on the floor of this AGM, people who would like to step forward at this point? I'm counting to 20.
Don't be shy.
I was just, it isn't a whole lot of work initially, I will say that, but it is a very important task. So as Ruben says, don't be shy. We would like to have more women. We would like to have people from other parts of the country on the board. We do have a few from outside the NCR, but I would like to recruit as many people as possible. So if you are at all interested, please let me or Ted know, or once we figure out who the next chairman will be, please let that person know if you're interested in stepping forward and would like to become more involved in the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Since there has been a resounding quiet from the floor, I would like to put forward that we vote on the new board of directors with Art Hunter and Madeline Aubry as the new directors stepping forward. Any questions, comments?
Can I second that?
Thank you, Raymond. All in favor? Please raise your hands. Oh, wow. I think this is going to be almost unanimous. A few people are a little slow to get themselves onto the reaction tab, but thank you very much. With that, I would like to say, Madeline and Art, welcome aboard again. Thank you. Okay. So that concludes the nomination committee. So there you go. I'm going to lower my hand now too.
Okay. We therefore can probably,
Any other business?
yeah. Any last thoughts, other business? In that event, I will.
Sorry, Ted, sorry.
Yeah,
In
please,
the package, it said that the board was to stay on a bit, or are we scheduling
Yeah.
something else later?
Yeah, we are going to ask everybody who is not now on the board to go away. So the board can decide amongst itself who will be president, vice president, secretary, all of the posts. And we will announce that after it's decided as quickly as we can, probably just sending it out over the same way we sent the request for people to come to the meeting.
So I would say we would adjourn the meeting at this point, and the new board, please stay online and find yourselves voting for the new. So at 3:25. No, you don't need a motion to adjourn.
No, well, you just need one person to say, hey, let's adjourn. So thank you all very much. And we'll get back to you as soon as we can to let you know who the new board members are and who has what posts. So thank you very much.
I will say to the new board, to who let me know who the new secretary will be, and I will send out the minutes to them, and I'll talk to them. No problem.
Perhaps we could ask the board members to turn their video on, and
bye everybody.
And those people who are not board members to turn their video off and leave the meeting.
Mm-hmm. So we still have a few.
And let's see. Okay. We have David Head, Madeline, Catherine Smith, John Legg, Peter Menke still with us, and And I don't believe Peter Menke is a member of the board, is he?
No.
Okay, I can
Zap him off, yeah.
remove him.
Catherine Smith is no longer board member.
Okay, Catherine Smith is no longer a board member?
So we
That
should have 8 people, right?
Yeah.
There's one person missing.
Richard?
Who's gone?
Richard, yeah, it's
Richard is gone. I think he may have had to go. I'm sorry.
Art, I can't get my video working.
Okay, yeah.
It's always
because-
red. I don't know why.
Okay, I have to invite you because I turned you on.
Okay. Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And so Fernandez, a member, Andrew Welch, Madeline, Raymond Lurie,
Just Catherine, she doesn't appear
Ted
to be
Manning,
there at the
David
moment
Head,
either,
Catherine
but,
Smith.
yeah. Okay, we now have quorum. The only one we don't have is Richard.
Okay.
Very well. So what is my last act before we name someone president? Just say that the way this has generally worked in the past is people are asked to step forward and indicate that they might wish to take one or more of the posts that we have open. I have spoken with most of you, and I have had a couple of people who have expressed interest in various other posts. I think the next thing is, as far as I'm concerned, everybody who is here should be eligible because you're all capable and useful and so on. So that said, I'll act as the chair until we appoint a president.
Ted, do we know why Richard isn't here?
No, we don't. He was here until a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Which is a bit curious.
I thought Richard was somewhere, like he's not at home, I believe, right? He's
He
somewhere
may
else.
not be at his home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know. Well, in any event, as I say, I've spoken to 2 or 3 of you about the idea of taking on the chairmanship. Don't all speak at once.
Well, I guess what I would like to do is ask Madeline if she would like to be chair again.
I think, there are people that are on the board right now, and you know how you work together. I think I don't feel comfortable. I mean, I wouldn't mind being vice chair because it's not the same thing exactly, but I think chair, no, I think people who have been there know, what they're looking for, and they've worked with some of the people who are on the board. I'd rather someone else. Thank you very much, though, Art. I appreciate that. Very nice.
Well, then let's nominate you for vice chair, unless there's someone else who would like to step forward for that position.
Yeah, so I'd like to nominate Andrew for the chair position. I think that he's shown that he can certainly do the job over the last year with all the stuff he's done for us, and he's one of the ones who's allowed us to actually make great progress this year.
Good.
I see a
Do you
lot of
accept that, Andrew? Do you accept that nomination?
a lot of people have nodded.
I can't, can you see me? Because I can't see myself.
We can
Yes.
see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see myself on reflected. Anyways, I was thinking of Richard because he has been the one leading real projects on advocacy. And of course, I would like to work with him in that direction. And so I would like to, I feel strange nominating him when he's not here and not,
Yeah,
I have
I'm not
mentioned
sure
it to him.
he is interested.
Well, I
quite
have talked with him,
frankly,
Ted. Ted, I have
what's
talked
that?
with him. I have talked with him.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's one of the people that you connected with, that you called,
Uh,
because you said you called a few people.
I've talked to everyone.
Yeah, well, not to me.
Mhm.
So when I was talking to him and we were talking about the new directions the real directions that advocacy could take, because I think we cleared that there's nothing holding us back. And we have decided, and the board has decided that we can go forward. There's no impediments. And we've even put conditions about who should go forward and the conditions for that. So I guess I would like to put him forward, but I'm feeling very awkward now that he's not here.
Not here, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Fernand, did you specifically confirm with Richard that he would accept your nomination?
He heard me saying that I thought he would be a good president, and that he would have that he has a lot of contacts and a good and he is pushing forward in one direction, which is the health area, and that we are waiting to push forward in other areas. We have the competencies, we have it all in our existing board, and we will. But he has not indicated either positive or negative. He just heard me.
yeah, I've spoken to him on the general idea of our working together with his group, and that was the area he was very interested in.
Yeah.
He did not seem interested in taking us on completely, although he, again, I didn't follow further. My preference would be, quite frankly, the ones I've actually asked are David, Raymond, and Andrew, all three of whom I think would be very good, capable people. So that said, we have to vote ourselves to the point where who's going to lead it, who's going to do the most work, who's going to want to get in and do it. I'm not sure under the charter whether I get a vote or not.
Oh, yeah.
I do. I do.
Well,
I
David,
do get it.
well, let me ask David and Raymond, do you wish your names still to stand?
No,
No,
no. So Ted asked me whether I wanted it or not, and I said no. I don't believe I have the time to do it.
Okay. So
David,
and I've
would
already
you be
talked to
standing?
David and tried to talk him into it, but he wanted to stay on because he's such a very good, a very good treasurer for us.
Then
Thank you, David.
Then what I suggest is that maybe we could have Andrew as chair with Raymond as vice chair.
No, Madeline.
Or pardon me,
is already
Richard
vice chair.
with
Yeah.
Richard as vice chair. I'm sorry.
No.
Well,
Madeline already.
No, Madeleine is already vice chair.
Yeah.
I don't think we voted yet, but
No,
we did not vote on it, but we proposed
exploring
earlier that
this.
Madeleine would be here.
Yeah, because I think the argument to put Richard in, even though he's not here, well, if he should decline and say I really don't want to do that, then we're in another position. We have another decision, but I suspect he would be happy to do that.
Yeah, I'm not so sure, but you don't have to be chair to do stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's not. I'm sure Richard's going to want to keep on pushing what he's been pushing already, regardless of.
He is also
and
a
you know what?
chair.
12 months
chair of
goes
another
by very,
organization.
very. Sorry, 12 months goes by very fast, and we'll be doing this again next year. So
I don't know that we have to come up with a vice chair by the end of the meeting. If members want Richard to be given that opportunity and for it to be put to a decision on the board, then perhaps at the first board meeting, with Richard there, we can decide who would be the vice chair. as a
I would
possibility.
also add that you can have more than one vice chair.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't think it's an official position
Yeah.
even in the bylaws.
Yeah.
Maybe it
Yeah.
is. I can't recall, but yeah.
So the other position that people need to think about is secretary, right?
Yeah. Yeah, secretary is another one that is required.
Anyone here wish to step forward as secretary?
This is-
Again, I don't know if it is necessary for a secretary to be a separate board position from the other officers. I had considered that if someone else was going to be chair, I might step forward as secretary because I take notes for all of the meetings anyway. This book is full of every board meeting that I've attended. So I don't know if those need to be separate positions or not, but until we find a secretary, I'm willing to continue what I do.
Sure, excellent.
Yeah,
Very good.
we have the ability, by the way, and have done it before, to go out and recruit other people. Because there are only 7 or 8 of us here, we have had as many as 11. So we can go out and solicit other people who might be more suitable. So some of us, I can't take notes anymore. My arthritis won't let me. I dictate, and that works fine. But you can't dictate if you. Jean was able to take over when she became past chair. I'm afraid I would be prepared if my hands would be operational after the meeting. They usually aren't.
Okay, but what we've got now in front of us is a proposal where Andrew becomes the chair and the secretary.
And David remains the treasurer. And
we try and recruit a secretary amongst our membership to begin with, or find a way, or maybe even rotate it.
Yeah. So the other thing, I personally, I think Madeleine, if she's willing, should be the vice chair. And if we want to add a vice chair after another one, and Richard wants to do that, then we could do that later. But let's
agreed.
Give that to Madeleine.
Everybody's nodding. So as being the chair of this meeting, I think we just took a decision whether we are all. I think we are all actually in favor of just what the decision we took. So congratulations, Andrew, as new president or chair, or whatever you want to call yourself. Madeleine, congratulations on being dragged back into the board as deputy or vice chair, or whatever we call them.
And Andrew as secretary.
Yeah.
So
one
Ted
other
is
one other thing you have to do, Ted. We have to appoint officers. They're not the same thing as directors. The officers will be the one who have the signing authority.
Yes, that's true, and we will need that to be chosen. And definitely, I think the best bet is of course the treasurer and the president. And if we need a third one, anyone else who is accessible would be a good idea.
So I think it'd be a good idea to have 3 because
Yes.
we need 2 signatures, right?
We don't need 2 signatures, but you need a second person in case a bus hits me.
Stay away from
I'm still trying to sort it out with my lake association, because the fellow who was the only person with the signing authority expired. Did not help.
I would suggest that it would help if the third person should be somebody in the NCR.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
I can step forward with that because it just means going to the bank, and I can go with you, David.
Okay, cool. So do we need I think we need a motion for that, right?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do need a motion for signing authorities.
So
I'll make the motion that the signing authority should be myself, and Andrew and Art.
Okay, I'll second that.
Yeah.
That voted unanimously. Yeah,
That's unanimous then.
Okay,
that's good.
thank you.
Is there any other business we need to resolve? It's
Next meeting, our usual meeting dates.
yes,
Yes, we do have to set up the next meeting.
We had been going on the second Monday of the month, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Except usually in July or August because nobody's around. But in any event,
Another organization I'm a member of chooses to do just one of the 2 months.
yeah. Well, a
And-
lot depends on the amount of business. I think a month ahead's about the most we've ever been able to guess.
okay. So the next normal meeting that's on the schedule would be on the 9th. That's only 2 weeks away though.
Yeah.
So shall we do the 9th or shall we push it back?
One of the things that I was thinking about just in conversations with others, and including Madeleine on this, was that there was value to a new board meeting in person, especially to kind of kick things off and establish the direction for the board for the year, as well as our working relationship, etc. And I was hoping that I would be sitting in on an in-person board meeting in Ottawa today, at least this particular gathering, and we're not. So I'm wondering,
Right. Well, actually,
since it was going to be a hybrid meeting anyway, I wonder if we can look at Indeed meeting in as early as June 9th, perhaps as an in-person meeting as much as possible in the NCR so that we can kick off in the same way.
Well,
so Andrew, I would love that, but I'm not available on that day, unfortunately.
But
okay.
When are you in Ottawa?
Can people hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, it's just great for me because I'm going to be going to Toronto, and then I will be in Ottawa on the 9th.
Yeah, but
and that's the only day you're there?
No, I'm going to be leaving on Sunday, but it's just from the 9th to the Sunday.
And Raymond, what are your dates?
So I'm I'm doing a project for the weeks. I'm back in town on the Wednesday, but I have other commitments there. I could do Wednesday. Can I do Wednesday night? No, I can't.
What about the 12th?
What about the 12th?
The 12th, I'm back at my project. I won't be in town. Can actually, would we be able to do it somewhere around an hour and a half before the regular Cacor meeting? So that brings us to 12 o'clock. Would that be possible?
If Fernand is back here, we don't have to go early.
It's not a question of timing. It's a question of whether we can have an in-person meeting, really. That's
If we
what
have
I'm talking about.
we don't need the other meeting if we have the in-person. So no, I'm really looking forward to having a meeting there. So I'm coming back. I'm looking at my calendar for June. I'm there the 9th and then leaving on that Sunday. So.
Well, since it was just thrown out there and no one's really had a chance to process this, why don't I send out a poll, a little quick doodle thing on the week of the 9th to the 13th, and we'll see if we can find a day in there that works for as much in person as possible.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Does that work?
And the time can be changed as well if it's in person.
Oh yeah, of course.
We can have it around a lunch or something.
Or 9 p.m. at a bar.
Yeah, that's
I'll drink to that.
Normally,
now I've got Raymond's attention.
I expect to be here in June, but I could be in Sri Lanka, so I don't just.
We'll move it to Sri Lanka. That's fine.
Would that be an expense?
Don't change anything on
That's an expense.
behalf. It's still up in the air.
Could we consider June the 14th? Like it's a Saturday.
Yeah.
That would be very hard for me because I'm here for family reasons, and so I wouldn't want to tie up the weekend.
Do the poll.
Well, I'll send the poll out and we'll go
Right.
from there.
Right.
And maybe just get some rest from a long AGM.
Yeah. Okay.
It was actually a fairly successful AGM. We got
Right.
everybody actually to agree on the stuff.
I
and
see
we
no
didn't
blood
have any
splatters.
hassles this
Yeah,
year
no blood.
over people saying we didn't have the right to do what we were trying to do. So yes, we won.
Right on.
Very well.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
so go enjoy summer.
Thank you.
I will write the very brief minutes that we've got and communicate that news to Jean.
Okay. Thank you.
Super.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone,
talk soon.
and
Thank you,
looking forward to talking
everyone.
to you soon. Bye.
All right.
Yes. Look
Bye.
forward to seeing you all in person and working
Absolutely.
with you next year.
Right on.
Okay.
And
Thanks.
I will be, I'll be calling Club of Rome to give them our board names of the new board. And it means that the board now we have for everybody who is a board member access to the Club of Rome website. So you can go on and participate in all of these crazy things that I pick off and send them to you, put them on the web too. Right now, they're in the middle of a fight between about a third of the members and the other third of the members over whether they come out publicly and declare Israel in a genocide or not. And there's at least two sides, and it's
So we
crazy
get to choose
walk.
sides now?
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
At least two. Probably about
Can
five.
we choose both?
Yeah, well,
I have.
that's
Yeah.
what many of the others are trying to do, is to come up with a means to actually talk about peace, not talk about blame.
Right.
Anyway,
see.
I have a pub for us to go to for our first meeting, a really good pub.
Gotcha.
and
Oh,
Great
we'll go
idea.
Nice.
upstairs and we'll get special treatment.
Nice.
Super.
I'm in.
I like the Ritz where we met when we had a meeting. The last meeting we had there was
Well,
around
it's
the
nice.
code of conduct.
During the daytime.
Fernand, the place I want to go is a place that we could also have other meetings after. There's about 50 people who could be there and it's upstairs and
Okay.
we get special service.
Okay.
Super.
As long as it's not too noisy and you can't hear each
Oh,
other.
no, we're upstairs. The noisy people are downstairs. And it's also heritage. It's a historical tavern.
We are going to be the noisy people. So.
I'm super.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I
Okay,
look
thanks a lot.
forward
Bye,
to
guys.
this in
Let's make some
person.
noise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.